Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out this headline. SEC versus Ripple. We got updates for you on this Thanksgiving holiday. Are we 10 days away from a settlement? And we're going to hear from one legal analyst that talks about just how crucial the window is for settlement and how it's closing very, very quickly. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. Right now, $870 billion market cap for crypto. We're up 0.3% this morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a good holiday if you celebrate. Bitcoin 16,500 plus, Ethereum 1,100 plus. We're about $6 short of $1,200 there for Ethereum. XRP is 40 cents this morning. We're up 3.9 on the 24-hour and 5.7 on the 7-day. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on in the space. I've got a couple announcements, so bear with me because I want you to know it's Black Friday week, and you know what? Black Friday's happening at Link2. It's also happening at Ledger, but right now at Link2, you can take advantage of the added price tiering on top selling portfolio companies. They're offering the best price tiering on their top selling portfolio companies through Friday today at 11:59 Pacific time tonight. Don't mess around if you're accredited. Again, other great specials there. Now, look, I've just started a Digital Perspectives Mastermind group, ladies and gentlemen, and it is jumping off. I'm doing a live stream in this group tonight. If you want to join, there is a chance to get a membership, and the benefits and perks will be all explained to you tonight. And I'm telling you, if you're somebody who is really looking to make a change, get yourself together, fix these gaps that you have in the crypto space, as well as really pursue some real deal, build a wealth portfolio, get some wealth creation happening in your life and success, this group is going to be the place for you, and it's already started jumping off. 6 p.m. tonight, you get full access to private Telegram group, weekly live streams, private groups and lessons, exclusive VIP ticket to our live event in Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a 6-month membership plan. You're going to come out the other side of this better than you went in it. That's what I know. I'm going to make sure of it. Right here, we start with this. It's very basic, and it is absolutely simple. And if it was you or I, we'd already be there. So why is Sam Bankman-Fried not in jail? That's where you and I would be. Not trying to be crass, but I mean, look, why is it he gets to roam around here after it is obvious what has happened? Bitcoin was invented to prevent this kind of thing, says Emily Parker on the FTX fallout. It was supposed to be decentralized, transparent, and reduce the need for too much trust on one individual. The ideals on which cryptocurrency were founded was completely undermined. And you know what? Listen, you could say that truthfully about the entire exchange-based system that exists for crypto. I've talked about this for a couple of years now, that, understanding where we go, these exchanges are centralized. They're handling everything for us. And obviously what happens when you get enough money, apparently, most people, not everybody, I guess, but most people see the money and they have it for an extended period of time and they have access to it and then they end up spending it, just like SBF has done at FTX. It's horrible what we have witnessed, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, if you hear a ringing noise going off in there, that's somebody else joining in that group. Don't mess around, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be something. The group, Digital Perspective Mastermind group, ladies and gentlemen, is my next challenge. And I want to really, really, really push myself and everybody in that group to have the tools they need to achieve the goals they want. It is very serious for me, and I hope that you consider joining. Binance targets $1 billion for an industry recovery fund. This is a start, but, I have to say, again, there are certain things. Look, I'm a little older than some people, right? So I'm 51. So for me, I want to see separation of custody. I don't want the same place that buys, sell, and hold my assets also handle the custody. I think it should be separated. And I think it should be in a way that somebody like a SBF or someone else cannot get access to the funds. But I mean, this is a nice thought nonetheless, but shout out to CZ. We'll see what goes on from there. Ethereum. Check this number out, ladies and gentlemen. Ethereum decentralization at great risk as Amazon is now hosting 62% of all nodes at data centers. Now, that's a heck of a number, ladies and gentlemen. And we know that Ethereum is not necessarily out of the woods with the SEC. And we know how long a road that can be. We'll keep an eye on it. But this very quickly here says the dependence of Ethereum network on Amazon Web Services continues to worsen. According to Ethernode's portal, 62.7% of all Ethereum nodes in data centers are hosted by Amazon. Meanwhile, back in August, the number was just at 52% with Hetzner. It says which initiated an anti-crypto policy and is currently the second largest host of Ethereum nodes. Further growth in Amazon's influence can be expected. At the same time, the total number of hosted nodes, 67.3%, thus out of 7,250 Ethereum nodes in general, 2,824, or 38.95% are held by Amazon. Ethereum's growing dependence on Amazon again raises the question of decentralization of perhaps the main blockchain of the crypto market. Not to mention the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that we know, what do we know? Not to mention the fact that we understand that JP Morgan is largely behind Ethereum as well, right? So it just gets worse. Hey, I want to remind everybody too, we're still waiting to find out because the shareholders from Consensus are suing Joseph Lubin. So as soon as I get an update on that, I will let you know as well. Another negative smear right quickly here was back in September because of the Tornado Cash mixing service. Remember that? When the move to proof of stake occurred, 53%, Ethereum blocks have compiled with OFAC sanctions in the last 30 days. The number has increased even further to 71%. So we'll keep you up to date as these things unfold, but it doesn't really, it looks like Ethereum may have some bumpy roads ahead here. We'll keep an eye out. European Parliament passed a vote on EU's Digital Decade Policy Program, which includes investing in cross-border blockchain infrastructure as a part of its goals for 2030. I tell you, it does appear from the news that we've gotten from the EU, even the US, that time period between 2025 and 2030 is going to be a whirlwind of adoption for CBDCs and crypto regulations broadly. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to see action between now and 2025. I'm just telling you, with a lot of the CBDC pilot programs, a lot of them are 24 to 26 before they roll them out. And I tell you, when they do, it is going to look like what this space is going to look like is so different than what it is today. I really do believe that, and I can't wait to report on it. November 30th, however, ladies and gentlemen, could prove to be a momentous day in the Ripple lawsuit. This marks the date that both sides must submit their summary judgment briefs to the court for review and potential redactions to the material. First of all, shout out to my sponsor, ProCoin News, who's always bringing the heat. Make sure you're following them, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere. Sign up for the free newsletter as well. November 30th could prove to be that momentous day in the ongoing SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. This marks the date that both sides submit their summary judgment briefs to the court for review and potential redactions to the material. At least one experienced litigator believes what is submitted on behalf of Ripple Labs may strongly indicate whether or not a settlement is coming. Listen to this. Typically, it is customary for each side to submit evidence to the court before going public with the material. Got it? If Ripple chooses to include the now infamous Hinman documents in their summary brief, it indicates that the fight will continue and likely intensify. However, if Ripple chooses to exclude the documents from the brief, it is a strong indicator that a potential settlement is likely. Here are the conditions that Brad Garlinghouse believes would make an acceptable settlement. Brad Garlinghouse states what would make an acceptable settlement. He's got the thing here and is having clarity, right? He said moving forward, and Stuart Alderati has backed up that same statement. But what I want to show you now is that it's also December 5th is when the redacted versions of the briefs that were just mentioned will be made public. There is speculation about whether the reply briefs would compromise the Hinman emails. So in other words, very quickly here, if Ripple puts the Hinman emails in their reply briefs, it says that we're in for a longer fight, intense fight, because they're going to show the world what's in them. And you know what? We can't forget about what is actually in them, because we have a bit of a window into that. Now, here's Bill Morgan. And I tell you, Bill has been an incredible legal analyst watching this case, as been, Fred Rispoli, Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, obviously, right? And James K. Filan, shout out to Jim. All of this, is really leading to this thread right here. And you're going to want every single bit of it, because this is going to get us up to where we need to be, because we could be just really weeks away, maybe even days away, of understanding exactly what's in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. Bill says here, okay, let's piece together a few things. Ripple have the unredacted Hinman speech documents, but cannot publicly release them. I could understand why not, based on Australian law, and it was where Bill's from, implied undertaking, but needed to know if there was something similar restricting public disclosures. So basically, he was asked a question here, I know you think settlement is a strong possibility, but do you think it could happen before end of year? So Bill says here, in the USA, Fred Rispoli helpfully replied and said that there was something similar in the form of a confidentiality order, which Ripple might need to bring a motion to remove the confidentiality designation, not another motion about the Hinman documents. And he is where he highlights Fred Rispoli's tweet here. Shout out to Fred. He says, or part of the broader redaction issue the judge has to decide. His view is that redacted version will be a part of or referred to in the Ripple reply brief in its summary judgment. The sealing motions will not be fully briefed until the new year, decided as part of the summary judgment process. The window for the SEC to avoid public revelation of unredacted or unsealed versions of the documents, which Ripple has seen, subject to few limited redactions, is not November 30th. What about the documents themselves, or keeping them confidential as an incentive for the SEC to settle? Well, we know they were bad for the SEC because they fought their disclosure tooth and nail for 18 months. If there was any doubt that there were Brad's comments that the documents showing something about the SEC's conduct, that is shameful. Has everyone forgotten how strong are those words and what they convey? And this is what they said. This was Brad and Stuart Alderati said, over 18 months and 6 court orders later, we finally have the Hinman documents, internal SEC emails, and drafts of his infamous 2018 speech, while they remain confidential for now. And then Brad Garlinghouse chimed in on the tweet and said, the SEC wants you to think it cares about disclosure, transparency, and clarity. Don't believe them. When the truth eventually comes out, the shamefulness of their behavior here will shock you. And that is pretty damning words that, Ripple have seen the email thread, all the documents. They've seen it. So then Bill goes on to say this, and both Brad and Stuart's tweets indicate we will eventually see them. The only way we won't is if they stay confidential as a term of settlement. If the SEC wants this as a part of a settlement, the window will close sometime before summary judgment motions are decided. Nobody, including the SEC, knows how long it will take the judge to make her decision on the summary judgment motions and redactions and sealing issues after it is all fully briefed on January 9th, 2023. Bill says, in conclusion, if avoiding public revelation of the shameful Hinman documents is a big deal to the SEC, as their bitter 18 months opposition to their disclosure suggests, and a true pressure point to settle, I would suggest, to be safe, they come to terms with Ripple by or very soon after January 9, 2023. Bill says, P.S. here, what would totally invalidate this analysis is if the SEC is truly shameless or the real motives for the litigation outweigh any shame the revelation of the Hinman documents causes the SEC and which it is prepared to ride out. How about that one? You know, in closing here, I got to say, Bill makes a good point in his closer here. We can't put it past the SEC that they don't shove William Hinman out to pasture and go, you know what? That's on old Billy Boy, not us at the SEC. Let him burn. That could really happen, and we don't know what will happen. But I tell you, there is something quite damning in those documents, and it probably would be in the best interest for them to settle. But I do want to remind people of this, because it was former federal prosecutor Jim Filan, ladies and gentlemen, predicts that the District Judge Torres will decide both the expert motions and the summary judgment motions simultaneously on or before March 31st, 2023. However we look at it, it's either January or sometime by March is what we're looking at by the analysts who really have their thumb on it and know the legal space quite well. Not financial advice from me or anyone else, but that's not that far off, ladies and gentlemen. And the window is closing if they're going to settle. And I can't wait for the reply briefs to be submitted, because we're going to find out exactly what's been going on in the way of settlement. Because if the Hinman speech is submitted in their reply brief from Ripple, oh boy, the fight continues. Not financial advice from me or anyone else, just my digital perspectives. Check out all those links underneath the video. They are great products and specials I use, and it's Black Friday week, baby. Ledger's got a killer deal, and I got the code for you to get it. And everybody else does too. Don't forget about Link2, and don't forget about my group tonight. Join that group. It's a 6-month membership. You're not going to be sorry you did it. Live stream, first one, tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see you there.